my friends, how's it going? It's Ultimus, and today we are going to be taking a look at the finally released Holy Paladin Artifact Weapon tree, the Silver Hand. For those of you who may have forgotten what this glorious piece of work looks like, it's pretty dope looking. It's huge. It's glorious. I really wasn't sure what to expect for the Holy Paladin Artifact, but I'm definitely happy with the skins that come with it. For whatever reason, these aren't showing up anymore, but this is what the basic line looks like for it, which is pretty sick. It's also quite massive, too. Like, I can only imagine what it's going to look like with a Tauren. Just throwing that out there. But this is really what we've been looking forward to. This is what I've been excited to get my hands on and see. They finally released this as of tonight. The recent build went live for Legion, and so we've got new stuff. Feral Druids, Balanced Druids, finally Demonology Warlocks are out. And the one that I've been most waiting for, which is the Holy Paladin. Now, part of the reason I am most excited about this is because I've actually got experience playing a Holy Paladin, and they're one of the classes I always consider continually rolling for next expansions, but it depends. Like I've mentioned before, I played one heavily in Cataclysm, was when I really fell in love with my Holy Paladin. Didn't really play her a whole lot in MOP for whatever reason. I just didn't enjoy the play style. And then I've picked it up recently again since WOD. Not super heavily just because of time constraints, but it's one of the alts I do tend to play the most of. If I'm going to play an alt, it's not my warrior. So, all that aside, let's go ahead and jump right in and take a look at the equip effect, which states, when you use Holy Shock, the Silver Hand has a chance to create a column of pure light for 10 seconds, increasing your damage and healing by 3% each second you stand in it. 15% of all damage or healing done while in this column of light will be added onto your next Holy Shock. Oh. So this is basically a proc effect that is gonna rely completely on your or I guess I shouldn't say rely, but revolve around is the word I was originally looking for. Your Holy Shock spell. Holy Shock is an instant cast, so this is more on demand than it would be waiting just for a chance to proc. But when you use Holy Shock, it procs this column, or I guess it does have a chance to proc a column of pure light for 10 seconds, which increases your damage and healing by 3% for every second you stand in it. So now, what I want to know with that, of course, is how long is the pillar going to last, and what is the cap on this, if there is a cap at all. There would obviously, there has to be a cap. There's no way they're just going to let this stack indefinitely. So I want to see how high that cap is going to go. Because, 3% isn't a small amount once you keep stacking it. If your healing and stuff like that is already pretty massive as it is, 3% is a decent buff. But, if that's just going to keep stacking and stacking and stacking, then obviously that's even crazier. And then, of course, 15% of all damage or healing done while in this column of light will be added to your next Holy Shock. So while you're standing in it, then not only are you going to have the increased healing for every second you stand in it, every healing spell you cast while you're in that pillar is going to be stacked onto your next Holy Shock. So it's going to start with Holy Shock and it's going to end with Holy Shock, which is really kind of cool. Holy Shock in and of itself is a really cool ability. Being able to use it for damage or healing in and of itself is a really fun mechanic to me, at least. And so, I think that's always one of the things that I've been bummed out about WoW, at least, has been, I know in most RPGs you're able to cast healing spells at undead targets, and it does damage to them. Now, I understand why in WoW you aren't able to do that, because it would be a broken mechanic in PvP if you could just spam healing abilities into undead characters. So I understand and I can respect why that mechanic doesn't exist in WoW. But I've always liked in other RPGs how I could use my healing spells as damage abilities as well. And so stuff like Holy Shock kind of sates that desire or that drive for that mechanic to exist. And so it's kind of cool too that the Silver Hand, the proc effect rests solely on and revolves around Holy Shock as a mechanic. With that done and looked at, let's go ahead and take a look now at the talents. Light Burst is a 2-second cast with a 1.5 minute cooldown. Release the light within the Silver Hand, healing an injured ally within 40 yards for 150% of spell power every 1 second for 10 seconds. So that, that's a significantly strong hot, it sounds like. 10 seconds is decent. It's going to be a bummer if that gets dispelled, though. But every second definitely isn't bad at all. And 150% of spell power doesn't sound exactly underpowered either. So, I mean, that's significant. I mean, 2-second cast feels like a long time, though. I mean, obviously that's going to be modified with haste, but that's interesting. So, we'll have to wait and see what that... I mean, it's not overwhelmingly cool, but it's not terrible sounding either. So, which is kind of cool. I think, too, something I have to keep in mind when looking at healing classes is that on paper, healing classes don't exactly sound super exciting when you're used to looking at damage classes. But in all actuality, once you get like the healing class in the arena or in the battleground and people just don't die when they're around, that's when you just get those subtle smiles when you're like, yeah, I did that. So that's kind of cool. Shock treatment. Holy Shock critical strikes reduce the cooldown of Holy Shock by 1 second. That's kind of cool. 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Okay, so definitely crit. I feel like crit's always been one of the go-to stats for Holy Paladins anyways, so it just makes sense why you'd want to stack a little bit more crit then. Oh, they still don't have a talent here. That's unfortunate. Holy Paladin Gold Medal. Are we going to have to scrap this whole thing then? Oh, no. Okay, so if you look down here, we actually get the actual text of what the spell is going to be. So we don't have anything written here on the talent itself, which says Holy Paladin Gold Medal. But down here, we're actually getting what the description of the spell is. So, stacking all the way up to 15% when you have it fully decked out is Light of Dawn has a 15% chance to be automatically cast a second time for free. That's kind of cool. All right, so that's not exactly underwhelming either. So that's kind of cool then that we have that, even though we don't have text there, except now we do. So that was really weird. So there's nothing there until you deck it out. Interesting. Whatever. I'll take it. It's there. I definitely like that one, especially when it's like minor spells. That's kind of cool. As long as it's nothing like, you know, Elemental Shaman Lava Burst, that kind of takes away from the fun of being able to get that Lava Burst off. But, so yeah, there's that. Blessings of the Silver Hand reduces the cooldown of your Blessing of Freedom, Protection, and Sacrifice by 5, 10, 15%. And obviously, I would imagine these can be, at least there's no glyphs up yet, which is fine. But I would imagine eventually they will be able to be glyphed, which is pretty cool. Alright. Deliver the Light. Increase the healing of Holy Light and Flash of Light by 3%, 6%, 10%. Focused Healing states reduce the cooldown of Tower of Light by 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And then Templar of the Light increases the duration of Aura Master by 1 second. That's kind of cool. 1 second's a big deal for that spell too. Like that's kind of, I mean, that's not game breaking. I don't want to exaggerate or anything, but that's a significant buff for sure. Especially again if you can relic that, because I mean if you can relic that, then that's going to be a nice extra buff duration. Even if you can only get that up to what 1, 2, 3, 4 extra seconds, or even maybe 2 or 3 extra seconds, that's still a significant amount there. Aura of the Silver Hand. Allies within 10 yards of their hate or have their haste increased by 5%. Oh wow, that's kind of cool. Huh. And then Expel the Darkness. Increases the healing of Light of Dawn by 3, 6, 10%. Justice through Sacrifice. Increases the healing of Light of the Martyr by 3%, 6, 10%. That's kind of cool. So Light of the Martyr is the one that sacrifices your health in order to heal the target. So again, the healing you benefit from that is going to get increased. How about Boon of the Silver Hand? When you activate Avenging Wrath, an image of the Silver Hand will drop from the sky, releasing orbs of light that will heal allies it hits. That's kind of cool. I want to know what the visual is going to look like on that, how cool that's going to look. And then, of course, how many orbs that's going to drop. Is that going to drop them randomly? Is it going to drop them close to allies? Curious. Knight of the Silver Hand reduces the damage taken by up to 10% when fully decked out there. Share the Burden. Blessing of Sacrifice also reduces the damage of targets taken by 5%, 10%, 15%. So that's kind of cool. So, I mean, Hand of Sacrifice is already a cool spell. It's interesting. Let's go back to Blessing of Sacrifice too. That's actually really strange. That's weird that they're actually reverting the names of all these back to Blessing. That's kind of funny. Blessing of Sacrifice was neat because it was a great way to break CC. It was a great way to kind of keep an eye on your secondary target or whatever, or even save your main target that's just getting a bunch of damage just like pumped into them. But if that's going to also reduce the damage they take as well, that makes that spell significantly stronger. Because it was already a great spell as it is, and there's a high skill cap to it, and it was really fun to use. But having that is going to make that even stronger for sure. Especially if we still get the talent that makes it an Allegiant that gives us 2 charges on it. We've got the reduced cooldown on it. Oh yeah, that's going to be cool. How about Protector of the Light? Divine Protection will also be applied to your Beacon of Light target. Oh, that's cool. So Divine Protection is the spell that reduces the spell damage you take by what, 20-30%? So now with this, it's going to also apply it to your Beacon of Light target. That's kind of cool. I like that a lot. That's really cool. That's going to be nice to be able to apply that as well, especially just coming up against heavy spell comps. Like, that's going to be very, very nice. I like that a lot. Protection of Tear. Aura Mastery now causes Aura of Mercy, Devotion Aura, and Aura of Light to be active for its duration. Wait, what? Interesting. So whenever you proc Aura Mastery now, it's going to also cause... I guess I should say whenever you use Aura Mastery, not proc. That's 2 very, very different terms. It's going to cause whichever talent you've taken, Aura of Mercy, Devotion, or Aura of Light, depending on, again, which talent you've taken, to be active for its duration. I thought Aura Mastery already did proc those, or maybe it's just for a certain amount of time and then Aura Mastery finishes off. Interesting. I mean, I'm not complaining. It sounds all the more reason for Aura Mastery to be a more powerful and feared spell for sure. Alright, let's take a look at this last one. This last one was a big deal because this was the one that was missing for quite a while for the Holy Paladin tree, and it always said something cool. So let's see if this lives up to the hype. Here we go. Something cool. The light saves. When your Beacon of Light target falls below 50% maximum health, your next heal will transfer 100% additional healing into your Beacon target. Not gonna lie, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Not gonna lie. So you've got your Beacon of the Light target over here. Let's say they fall below 50% health. Your next heal, doesn't say what kind of heal, just any heal, will transfer 100% additional healing to your Beacon. So you're healing this target over here, your Beacon's over here. You throw a gnarly Holy Shock into him. Let's say that's been completely buffed up by, your equip effect from your Silver Hand. And you just throw this gnarly Holy Shock into this guy over here, and then you're just going to get that big old buff over here to your Beacon of Light target. Kind of cool, because I mean, our Beacon of Light is already getting only like, what, 30-40%, maybe 50% at most of the healing you're throwing out. So it's not a huge amount, but it's enough to usually keep the target alive, more or less, if they're taking, like, spread pressure. But that alone right there is kind of cool. Doesn't mention anything about an internal cooldown. Doesn't mention anything about how often this effect can proc. I'm sure there will be an internal cooldown on it, because, again, I feel like stuff like this has to have it. But still, it's kind of cool. I feel like Paladins are definitely going to be those, like... I mean, Holy Priests are still going to have the biggest single target heals in the game. There's no doubt about that. And they're going to have that big old AoE heal as well. But I feel like just looking at the artifact tree here and kind of knowing what we know about Holy Paladins after looking at some of their spells and talents and stuff like that, I feel like Paladins are going to be able to pull off some very, very clutch, like, last-minute saves on people. Almost more so than any other class. Maybe Resto Druids? I don't know. I mean, and I'll have to wait and see. Again, all this is just on paper, but I feel like Holy Paladins are going to be very strong contenders come Legion, just based off of just looking at this and, again, knowing what we know about their talents and abilities so far. They look good, though. They look very cool. I like the direction they're taking Holy Paladins. I do. I think this definitely sparks my interest enough to keep playing it for sure. Now I just got to decide if I want to race change my Paladin from human to Draenei, because there's something about a Draenei Paladin that just feels so perfect to me. But I like my Paladin being human as well, because plate looks really good on humans. I don't know. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, and that has nothing to do with this video. But yeah, so go ahead and leave me what you think in the comment section about Holy Paladins. If you play one, do you like the changes? Do you like the direction they're going? Again, I really do like the direction, especially with their their main core mechanics, which are basically encouraging the Holy Paladin to be out there in the middle of the battle, not necessarily hiding back in the background, but encouraging the Holy Paladin player to get out, to mix it up, get in the fray, do some damage, maybe even stick close to your allies because you're going to benefit from your mastery from that. And I like that play style a lot. I feel like that definitely fits the plate healer for sure, because every other healer is too squishy to pull that off, and you'll waste too many defensive cooldowns for it. But I think as long as armor mitigation remains a very, very strong factor and the Holy Paladin is tuned properly, I feel like that playstyle will be very well placed, and I think it'll be a whole lot of fun. And it's probably one of the reasons the Holy Paladin has appealed to me the most as my healing spec to play. And looking at this right now, I think it does remain that way as well. So yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think if you play a Holy Paladin. Do you like the direction they're taking them? Do you not? Let me know your comments. Anything that has to do with Holy Paladins, I want to know. If you guys haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Still shooting for 500 subs come summer, so if you would like to help me get there, that would be much appreciated. You can follow me and find me on a couple different social media platforms that are linked here throughout the page. You can find my Instagram up above, where I post just about every day, mostly stuff to do with everything else other than gaming that goes on in my life, so follow at your own discretion there. You can find our Facebook page and hit that like button there, or the follow, however you want to do it. It's a like. That's right. It's a like on Facebook. Jeez Louise. But yeah, that way you can be up to date on when I'm posting new videos. I share the links there from every video I'm posting every day right over there, so you guys can go ahead and give that a follow. It also gives you another platform to communicate with me, leave requests for videos and suggestions as well. I love hearing from you guys. And then last but not least, you can find me on Twitter, where, again, I'm pretty active and I'm pretty scouring my Twitter feed pretty much every day. It just gives you guys another chance to keep up to date with what I'm posting and what I'm doing. It's always fun to hear from you guys, so take advantage of those if you want. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.